Okay, so get this. How is it possible for someone making 94 grand a year to become a millionaire while their friend who's pulling in 122 grand is barely getting by? It sounds like a riddle, right? But it's not a riddle. It's a trap. And honestly, millions of people fall right into it without ever seeing it coming.
So, to really get our heads around this trap, we're going to look at a tale of two old college roommates, David and Ryan. Their story, well, it lays it all out perfectly. All right, so here's the breakdown. You've got David in San Francisco making a really nice $122,000 salary. That's almost $30,000 more than Ryan. But hold on, look at the savings. David's only managing to put away $400 a month. Meanwhile, Ryan over in Boise, Idaho, he's saving $1,800. That's more than 4 times as much on a way smaller salary. So what on earth is going on here?
So this is what life looks like for David. That big, shiny six-figure salary, it gets absolutely eviscerated by the San Francisco cost of living. We're talking $3,400 a month for a cramped, old apartment. Think about that. Half of his take-home pay is gone. Poof, straight into his landlord's pocket. And that's before he's even bought a single carton of milk. Okay, now let's hop over to Boise and see what Ryan's up to. For less than half of what David's paying, Ryan's living in a modern two-bedroom place. He's got in-unit laundry, a parking spot, the works. His food costs less, his taxes are lower. I mean, every single dollar he earns just stretches so much further. So yeah, David makes more money on paper, but Ryan is the one who's actually getting rich.
So, you see, this isn't some weird fluke or a mystery. There's actually a name for what's happening here. It's a powerful, kind of hidden financial principle that just silently chews up the wealth of millions of people. And we call it the geography trap. And here's the absolute core of it, the most important thing to get. A dollar is not a dollar everywhere. A dollar in San Francisco is just worth less than a dollar in Boise. The geography trap is exactly that. It's when your fancy, high cost of living city basically eats your high income for lunch, leaving you with just the crumbs to save and invest. And you might be thinking, okay, but how big of a difference are we really talking about? Well, get this. The cost of living in David's city, San Francisco, is a staggering 80% higher than the national average. 80%. That's not just a headwind, that's like trying to run a marathon in a hurricane.
This chart really drives the point home. Let's just say you make $100,000 after taxes. In San Francisco, that money only feels like 55 grand. Your purchasing power is almost cut in half. But now look at the other side. Take that same 100 grand to a place like Oklahoma City, and suddenly it has the buying power of $125,000. That is an absolutely game-changing swing. But look, this trap isn't just about your monthly bills. That's the small stuff. The real danger, the truly scary part, is what it does to your wealth over the long haul. So let's fast forward a bit, because this is where the numbers go from surprising to, well, just plain insane. So let's play this out. We'll give it 20 years. David takes his $400 a month, invests it, gets a pretty standard 8% return, and he ends up with about $236,000. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not nothing. But let's be real, it's definitely not retire comfortably in San Francisco money. Not even close. Okay, now let's look at Ryan. Same 20 years, same 8% return. But he's investing his $1,800 a month. And the result? He smashes right through the $1 million mark. He's sitting on over $1 million, a millionaire. And that quote just nails it. We're talking about an $800,000 gap between them. That is life-changing money. And it wasn't because Ryan was some genius investor or worked longer hours or got some lucky break. Nope. The whole thing, every single dollar of that difference, boils down to one thing and one thing only: where they decided to live. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. For decades, the excuse for living in these super expensive cities was always the same, right? You have to be there for the best jobs, for the opportunities. Well, guess what? In just the last few years, that whole idea has been turned completely on its head. Remote work has literally changed the game. I mean, look at these numbers. Almost a third of all workdays are now from home. Remote job postings are up over 500% since 2019. The whole career premium of being in an expensive city is just collapsing, especially for knowledge workers. The big tech companies, the ones who created the San Francisco salary boom, are now the ones saying, hey, go work from wherever you want. And once your job isn't physically tied to your desk, the possibilities, they become mind-blowing. This is a concept called geographic arbitrage, and it's like a financial superpower.
Just imagine this. You're earning a solid US salary, but you're living in Lisbon, Portugal, where your total monthly expenses are something like $1,400. Or what about Mexico City? Your entire cost of living could drop to just $800 a month. And if you really want to supercharge it, you could go somewhere like Chiang Mai, Thailand, and live an amazing life for around $600 a month. Think about that. With even a modest remote salary, you could be saving 70–80% of your income. You could reach financial freedom in less than 10 years, all just by changing your zip code. Okay, so this isn't just some fun what-if scenario. This is about taking control, about making a conscious choice with what is probably the single biggest financial lever you can pull. So let's get practical. Here's a framework you can actually use to figure this out for yourself. And it all starts with this one simple question. I want you to really think about this. Have you consciously decided that everything you're getting from your city is worth what you're paying for it? Or did you just kind of end up there? Did you just accept the insane rent and high costs as the price of admission without ever really stopping to question it? All right, here's a little 4-step geography audit you can run on your own life. First, calculate your true cost of location. How much extra are you really paying in rent, taxes, and lost savings? Second, be brutally honest with yourself. How dependent is your job on this specific location? Could you do it from somewhere else? Third, run that 10-year projection we did for David and Ryan, but with your numbers. See what the future looks like. And finally, step 4, make a call. Is living here a temporary strategic move, or is it a long-term financial trap? And that's really what this all boils down to. Look, it's really hard to double your salary, and you can only cut back on lattes so much, right? But your location, your zip code, that's a massive lever that can multiply your wealth. It is without a doubt the single most powerful variable in your financial life that you actually have control over. So let's wrap this up with one last thought to chew on. You've already made the decision about what you earn. You've put in the work for that salary. The question is, have you decided what it's actually worth?